A good Erev Shabbos, everyone. Erev Shabbos, Parshas Vayakheil-Pekudei, the end of the book of Shmos. Erev Shabbos, Parshas Hachodesh, which deals with the first mitzvah the Jewish people were given in Mitzrayim, getting us ready to become a nation, getting us ready to become a people. And we read the account of that from the book of Shmos, in the 12th chapter of the book of Shmos. God turns to Moshe and Aaron and he says to them, Hachodesh zeh lachem, this month shall be for you the first of all months, and he gives them the mitzvah of Rosh Chodesh. And you have to wonder why Aaron was involved in that. Why wasn't it enough Vayidar b'Shem Moshe lim, or just speak to Moshe, tell him what had to be done, how they had to prepare, get ready with the Korban Pesach, with the Paschal Lamb, get ready for the Exodus of Egypt. Why bring Aaron into this? Second of all, you have to wonder why this is the first mitzvah. And this is a question we ask all the time. Why is this the first mitzvah Jewish people were given? If you think about the mitzvahs, you think about what the purpose of the mitzvahs are, why God gave us mitzvahs, you can't imagine that this was number one on the list of the greatest hits of mitzvahs that was going to be Rosh Chodesh. You got to imagine Shabbos probably was up there. Maybe V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, loving your neighbors yourself. Shema Yisrael Shem Elokeinu Shem Echad, reciting the Shema maybe that should have been the first mitzvah. Kiddush HaChodesh. It's relatively insignificant in the larger picture of things. So why is it that was given the first mitzvah? And why is it that we know that Moshe Rabbeinu had a difficulty with it? Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't sure. And therefore God said to him, Hachodesh hazeh. And we've spoken over the past couple of weeks with the shkalim and other things that when you see the word zeh, when you see the word this, so God is pointing out something specific. And God pointed out to Moshe Rabbeinu exactly what the Kiddush HaChodesh was. Kazeh re'eh v'kadesh. Like this you should see, v'kadesh, and you should sanctify. So he showed him exactly what to do. So our commentaries explain that what was the real difficulty that Moshe Rabbeinu had. Moshe Rabbeinu, really, his difficulty is that why is it all about the moon? Why are we tied into something that waxes and wanes as opposed to something that is kviya v'kaima, something that's around all the time? The sun is constant. So why not be connected to that than to something that waxes and wanes? And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu was having a difficulty with, and that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu, Hachodesh zeh lachem, Hachodesh hazeh. What was the answer? What was he telling him? How was he explaining to him why we're so connected to the moon? You know, when Hashem told Moshe by Matan Torah, V'kidashtem hayom u'machar, you should sanctify them today and tomorrow, V'chibsu simleisam, and they should wash their clothes. So it wasn't just about physical tumah. It wasn't just about physically cleaning themselves and getting themselves ready for Matan Torah. But v'chibsu simleisam also, according to the Svarim, means that they had to go through a process of tikkun midos. That they had to make their midos, their character, straightened out in order to be able to receive the Torah, because tikkun midos is a prerequisite for getting the Torah. The whole book of Bereshis is all about midos. It's all about the midah of chesed. It's all about the midah of gevura. It's all about the midah of emes. It's all about getting rid of your gaivus and your taivus, getting rid of your haughtiness and your desires and your lusts, and getting rid of all of those negative things. Your kinah, your kavod, your jealousy, your desire for honor. It's all about derech eretz kadma l'Torah. That first there has to be derech eretz. First there has to be tikkun midos. There has to be an improvement in the mensch, in the person, and then you can put Torah inside of it. Then you have a kli, you have a vessel that can receive and accept the Torah. If you look at the Rambam has a set of halachas called Hilchos Deis, the laws of personality development, and then he has the laws of Hilchos Torah. Because derech eretz kadma l'Torah, in that placement the Rambam is teaching me and reviewing for me this idea that you can want Torah all you want and you can do what you want for Torah, but at the end of the day, who you are as a mensch and what you do as a person, that's got to be the first step. That's why we study Pirkei Avos before Shavuos, between Pesach and Shavuos, because it's all about tikkun midos. That's the appropriate kind of preparation for Kabbalah Satira. That's the reason why midos tovos, good character traits, is not part of the Torah. It's not a special commandment in the Torah because they're the basis of the Torah, the basis of every single one of the mitzvahs. And therefore, midos ros are more critical even than actions. That midos ros are worse than averos, than the transgressions that you do. Because it's the foundation, the fundamentals of a person. That has to be straight in order for Torah to be able to be there. Rabbi Elimelech Lezhensk, the Noam Elimelech, whose yahrzeit was this past week, said in his Likutei Shoshana that the pasuk says, Ki ner mitzvah v'Torah or, that the commandment is a lamp, the Torah or, and the Torah is the light that comes from it. Then imagine, one of those lamps you always find in the museums, right, in the archaeological digs, right, the lamps, the genie lamps. And then there's a wick that comes out of it, and then there's the light. So the lamp itself, that's mitzvah. And then the light that comes out of it, that's the Torah, that's the or. But it says Torah or. The Torah is the light. So it should say that mitzvah is the ner. But that's not what it says. The pasuk says, not mitzvah ner v'Torah or, it says ki ner mitzvah v'Torah or. Why would it put the ner, the lamp, before the word mitzvah, when if we wanted to keep the pasuk congruous, it should have said ki mitzvah ner v'Torah or. Says the Noam Elimelech, because first you have to build a ner. First there has to be a receptacle, there has to be a kli. And that's tikkun midos. That's your character, who you are, how you process the world, your outlooks, your views, your personality. And then you can have Torah or. Then you can have mitzvah. Then you can have your actions, and then you'll illuminate, and then there will be the Torah or. When we look at the world, we look at the sun and the moon. We know the moon is a reflection of the sun. The moon was Yehoshua. The sun was Moshe. The moon was a mere reflection of Moshe. The sun is the essence of the light, and the moon is the reflection of that light. The moon represents midos tovos. Because the moon takes a back seat. The moon is just reflecting. The moon is just carrying that light. It's not the light itself. The moon is like the ner, it's like the lamp. The moon represents the power to be able to be second. It represents the breaking of the gaiva, of the haughtiness, of the kinna, of the jealousy, of the covet, of the desire for honor. The moon represents a healthy being that can then be a conveyor of light. And that's why we count according to the moon. Because our whole basis is tikkun midos. That's really our foundation. And that's what we need, the constant reminder every month, being tied into the moon, our holidays being tied into the moon, everything about the moon, because it's all about tikkun midos. And that was Moshe's struggle. Why the moon? And that's why God told him, Kazeh re'eh. Look at the moon, v'kadesh, and sanctify yourself. Look at the moon, remind yourself of what a good midah is and what midas tovos are. And then v'kadesh, sanctify yourself, build yourself up. That was why it's the first mitzvah in the Torah. Derech eretz kodma l'Torah. Because it's got to come first. And that's why Aaron had to be involved. Because because Aaron HaKohen was whole in his midas, in his character, more than any other person. And therefore Aaron had to be involved in this equation. And that's what we remind ourselves of. We're about to go into Pesach. The whole tachlis of Pesach is Shavuos. It's to get us to Kabbalas HaTorah. The becoming a nation, the exodus of Egypt, the spiritual redemption, the days between Pesach and Shavuos, it's all there as one package to get us to Kabbalas HaTorah. And what do we need for Kabbalas HaTorah? Hachodesh Hazeh Lochem. We need Rosh Chodesh. We need the moon. We need that symbol of Midos Tovos. Those have to be in place in order for us to be able to accomplish what we need to accomplish. In order to be able to get ourselves to the place of where we have a Kabbalas HaMitzvos, where we accept the mitzvos and we live the mitzvos. First place we need to be, first thing we need is Derech Eretz. Tikkun HaMidos. Becoming better and more beautiful people. And we can do that. Because just like that moon, Hachodesh Hazeh Lochem, it's not Kviya V'Kayama. It doesn't sit there constant in the sky. It waxes and it wanes. Hachidush Hazeh Lochem. You can rejuvenate yourself also. You can reinvent yourself also. You can make yourself into that better person that you want to be. That's the symbol of the moon. That's why we live by it. That's why it was our first mitzvah. And it's why in the month of Geula, before Rosh Chodesh, before the month of Geula of redemption begins, we are reminded, Hachodesh Hazeh Lochem Rosh Chadashim, look at the moon, and Hachidush Hazeh Lochem, reinvent yourself. Make yourself fresh and new. Fix that character so that you can then march on to be a productive member of this incredible nation that's going to receive and live with the Torah. We should have a beautiful Shabbos, an amazing Rosh Chodesh, an awesome month of Geula, an incredible Pesach, and all of that as beautiful, amazing people. Have a wonderful Shabbos.